today's session will be more of programming session. We'll be discussing the uh, your markup and your controller as well, how to handle your events. We will be creating lightning standalone application as well, and we'll be seeing a few more things. So before that, let's have a recap of session 2. So what we have learned in session 2, like how to apply style sheet on your component, so that we have applied style sheet on multiple lightning components, and we have created multiple classes. We have seen the top level components, how to apply style sheet on the top level component, and how to apply style sheet on the one or more level deep components as well. We did see how to display your lightning component as it will be shown on Salesforce mobile app using your desktop browser. And and we did create our first lightning component that we'll be using in our application, that is rent a car application. So we have created the first component, the search form for that component. Although we did not create any logic for that, we just created the markup or the UI part. But yeah, that was pretty basic. But we will be modifying that some of that today, and in further sessions as well. So this is your session 3 agenda. So what we'll be covering for today's session is, we'll be creating your standalone lightning application. We'll be checking your lightning attributes, so like what is lightning attributes are and why do we use them. Then we'll be checking upon the expressions as well. So why do we, what are expression and why do we use them. Then we'll be checking conditional markup. So conditional markup is like, if you want to show and hide a layout from your page, or if you want to show and hide a particular component from a page, how you can do that, we will be seeing that as well. Then we'll be seeing the loops or arrays, so how to iterate over your arrays and objects, we'll be seeing that as well. And the most interesting part, we will be seeing how to handle your browser event today as well. So like uh, we will be handling a on click event in your controller file controller.js file. And so that will be so that will give you a basic idea how your controller file interacts with your markup file, and from there our application code will begin. So first thing is, like, what is a standalone lightning application and what advantage does it give to you. So a standalone lighting application can be hosted or can be accessed directly by a custom URL that you will decide. So you will decide the application name. So once you append your application name by the end of your aux URL, you can simply access your application directly. You do not have to go through those steps in your aux, like go through multiple steps and then access your application. Just simply access it by a custom URL. You can see your lightning application does have an extension called .app, which describes your component, or which describes your file, that this is an lightning application file. And you can use, of course you can use your lightning components inside your lightning application as well, but there are some uh, limitations on this part, because some of the standard events are not supported, or some of the standard components are also not supported inside a lightning standalone application. So uh, so there are some limitation on this part. We will be checking those in further sessions. But for today, we'll be creating a basic lightning application, so that should not be a problem for us. So this would be our first exercise as well. So let's open your org, and let's create your first lightning standalone application. So once again, we'll be going inside your we will be opening the developer console, from where we'll go to file, new. I need to reload it, I guess, since the internet connectivity issue. Yep. So go to file, new, and then click on lightning application. Give your lightning application, I give it rent a car. And then there is a checkbox about lightning out dependency app. So you should not be checking this for today, because what this checkbox does, it makes your lightning application available for visual force pages. So so you can use this, we will be using this checkbox in our further sessions, but for today we are not checking it, because we do not want our lightning application to be available for visual force pages. Give any description, whatever you want, click on submit. So once you'll create, click on the submit button, the this screen you will be seeing with a normal Aura colon application tag. So this will define like, okay, you are going to write the code for your application. And if you do notice, your name, application name has been appended with .app extension that will describe like this file is a lightning application file or lightning standalone application file. So what we did yesterday, we have created this car search form, right? And we have deployed it via using app builder on your contact record detail page. So this is how it was looking. So what we are going to do, we will be using the same car search form in our rent a car application as well. So it's pretty easy to include your lightning component inside a lightning application. What you have to do, just simply type in the component name. So and you need to define your namespace as well. So by default your aux namespace is C. Once, let's say if you change your namespace, let's say you have made your developer org available as managed package, so you can change your namespace there, but by default is C. So you need to give your namespace. For me it's C. I think it's same for you as well. And after your namespace, provide a colon and then your component name. So your component name was car search form, and then just close this tab. That's it. This, this particular, now what you have done, you have included this particular component inside your lightning application just by defining the component name here. And you can preview the lightning application just by clicking on this preview button. So if you open your lightning application, the right side bar changes from the component properties. So if you see on a component right side bar, there are 8 files listed here, and there's no preview button. But if you open your application file, you will see these 7 files along with a preview button. So click on the preview and it will display your component here. Now what we are seeing in this component, so this does not include your lightning look and feel, right? But we do see our two buttons and the select list here. But why it is not including your why it is not showing you the component in lightning look and feel? So for that we need to extend a class called force colon slds. Let me copy it from here. So you need to extend this class in your lightning application. So what this particular class does, it applies the slds style sheet on your lightning components or on your lightning application. As soon as you extend this class and save this, you should be able to see your component with lightning look and feel. So and you do know what you have done, you simply included this key, you simply extended this class. You did not specify any uh, style sheet using style using css or anything. You simply included this one, and the styles are automatically applied to your complete application. So this is how you can create a lightning application, and this is how you can include a component inside a lightning application. uh, any questions so far before we move on to our second topic for today?
Manish, what is the difference between a component and app? Like, where do you use the app and where do you use it?
Yep. So let's say so who was this?
This is Venki.
May I know your name? Yeah, Venki. So what is the difference between your component and your lightning application? So first of all, you can simply access your lightning application by a custom url, and your lightning application can have multiple components. which can which can be, your component can also have multiple components, but you do not have any mechanism to use the UI without either including them in your lightning experience via app builder page, or by a quick action. So we have talked about the Salesforce ecosystem, right? You cannot show your lightning components without using the Salesforce ecosystem, but in your lightning application this gives you an advantage to access those components directly by a custom URL. So this is the difference between those.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other question? Okay, so I'll take that as no. Let's move on. So now let's talk about lightning component attributes, what they are, why do we use them. So component attributes does make your component more dynamic. By more dynamic, I mean like till now whatever we have done.
Manish, can we see Lightning application alongside the regular Salesforce applications?
So you are saying on the same UI. So let's say this is my Lex experience. So you want to see your lightning application here itself.
Yeah,
Can
is it possible?
Okay, so in no, so if you want to show your lightning application inside your Lex experience, uh, first of all, I'm not sure, but I think you cannot do that. What is possible is like you can include your lightning application inside a Visual Force page, and then you can show your Visual Force page inside a classic UI. But inside a Lex experience, or what we call lightning experience, I'm not sure like you can include a lighting application on the UI itself or not, because these are specially designed for using as a standalone application. If you want to use your component inside a Lex experience, so you can either use your lightning tab or app builder pages or record pages and quick action. This is how you can display your components. So again, your lightning application is nothing but it consists multiple components, right? So these components can be hosted inside your Lex experience using different mechanism that we have talked, like either app builder page, lightning tab, or uh, other mechanism. But hosting the complete application, I don't think it's possible.
Ashman is it's not possible.
Yeah, thanks for confirming that. And also, can you guys do me a favor before asking the question? Can you please state your name? Because I have to go and check like who was asking the question, so it would be easier for me to pronounce your name. Okay, so let's move on. So we were talking about lightning component attributes. So your component attributes make your component more dynamic, in sense like till now whatever we have implemented, it's completely static. There are no value changing on the UI, nothing is being changed. So even if the user interaction, their user is selecting multiple values from your select list and he's clicking on the UI, but nothing is changing, so it's a static UI. But your attribute gives you an advantage to make it more dynamic. So attribute can hold the values of different types, like they can hold a value of string, integer, or any object type as well. And then you can access those value inside your lightning components. There are few things that we need to keep in mind before naming your lightning attributes. First thing is, it must start with a letter or a underscore. So that's second thing is, it must be of two or more characters. So you cannot give a lightning attribute named as a single character. You at least have to give two or more characters. The third thing is, as a bad so third thing is not a hard and fast rule, but still what you need to do, you should give your attribute names on the top of your component, so that it makes your code more readable. So like whenever another developer looks at your code, he will get to know, okay, like these are the attributes that are being accessed in this particular component. then we so similar to other programming languages, we do have the scope attribute here as well. So scope attribute decides where can you can use your attribute inside a component. And it like if it is a global, it can be used in any namespace. So let's say my namespace in my org is C, and let's say your org namespace is some any name. So if my attribute name is if my attribute scope is global, you can access my attribute from your namespace as well. But if it is public, this can be used in the same namespace only. So like, let's say you have created a managed package using your namespace, so only your managed package component can access this particular attribute, and no one else out of your namespace can access this particular attribute. Third thing is private. So private makes it more restrictive, and it can only be used within the container app interface component or event, and can't be referenced externally. So if you host your so let's say you want to access your attribute from another component which is not a part of your application or interface, that will not be able to access your attribute if it is private. So these are the three scope parameters that we have, or scope attributes that we have, that defines the scope of your attribute. Then the attribute types. So these are the normal data types that we see in Apex as well. So it supports Boolean, string. There are 12 data types that it supports. It includes Boolean, string, integer, double, long, decimal. Along with that, it supports your collection data types as well, which is list, set, and map. And then it does support as object or object, whatever you say it. So it does support as object or object. Along with that, it supports date and date time as well. So these are the 12 data types supported by Lightning Component attributes till now. It may support more in the future releases, but nobody is sure about that. Then using expression. So till now what we have learned, like, okay, we can define our attributes inside a Lightning component, and we can define the scope as well, and we have learned the data types as well. But how to access those components? They can hold the value, but you need some mechanism to show those on UI as well, right? So that's when the expression comes in picture. So expression are used to display or render the attribute value on the UI. So it allows you to access the attribute values and make the calculation as well. Yes, you can make your calculation as well based on your attribute value inside the expression. So expression starts with a parenthesis and ends with a parenthesis, and also it includes a exclamatory mark or hash mark. So if it includes exclamatory mark, so we call it a bound expression. So what does bound expression mean? So as soon as your expression value changes, so let's say you have defined an attribute called ABC, or let's say you have defined an attribute called username. So username is Manish. So as soon as your username value changes from Manish to let's say Ashish, your UI will display the latest value by default, or we can say automatically. You do not have to do any code. You do not have to go to your server and fetch the new value from there and display it. If you include the exclamatory mark, or we can say if you use bound expression, your UI automatically will render the new value. But if you are using hash expression, then we call it unbound expression. So that means even though the username changes from Manish to Ashish, it will still display the old username until unless you refresh the complete page, or if you refresh the component. So this is how you can access the attribute value. So let's say your attribute, you can use v dot attribute name. So what is v here? So first of all, let's talk about the parenthesis that defines your attribute, that defines your expression. Then again, you will define it's if it's a bound expression or unbound expression. After that, you will use a letter v. So v is a value provider here. So value provider means, so like all the values being held by all the attributes are inside v. So v is the value provider, and after that you will simply give your attribute name, and you can simply access your attribute value this way. We'll be seeing this in our lab exercise as well, so please don't be worried about this one. Okay, here it is. Now we need to do this as a lab exercise as well. So using attributes in Lightning component. So again, go to your developer console, and click on your car search form component. So what we are going to do, so we let me okay, so we have two buttons here. One is named as search and the second is named as button. So instead of giving a text, fetch this text from a attribute or from a attribute. So how you can do it? So first of all, you need to define the attribute at the top of your component. Defining it at the top of your component is not mandatory, but it's always a best practice to do it because it makes your code more readable. This is how you will define attribute. So you need to use aura colon attribute tag. Then you have to name your attribute. Let's say mm, button label. Then you need to give you need to define the type of your attribute. So type will define, like we have seen 12 data types, so you need to define which type of value it will hold. So it will hold the string value, so simply type in type and string. So this will make your button label as a string data type, so your button label can hold a value of string. And then you can define the scope as well, but for us, let it be default. And there is one more attribute that you can use in Oracle and attribute tag, that is called default. So default will give a default value to this particular attribute. So let's give it a default value of search and close it. So here, instead of search, we will use our expression to access the value of attribute named button label. So how to use that? Simply start and close your parenthesis, include a exclamatory mark or what we say hash mark, and then type in v as in value provider dot your attribute name. Your attribute name is button label, so just type in here and save it. Okay, there is a spelling mistake. Yeah, save it. And now reload our page to just to see like if the search button, if search button is still visible or not with the name search. Let's go here, refresh our page. So the guys who don't know how to clear the cache on client side, so you can simply follow these steps. You may not be seeing this button here with green and red marks, so you can simply follow this step to clear the cache. Go to your setup, and in your setup you can type in components. So this will you do not have to reload your page multiple times to clear the cache. It will simply clear the cache for the in the first time itself. It's taking some time. Meanwhile, let me reload this one as well. Please, 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 please. Yep. Come on, man. Yeah. So we have refreshed our page, and we still see the search button here with the name, with the label search, which is coming from your attribute here. It we are not giving the search text here in the label. It is coming from your attribute here. We can again give another attribute here, and we will use unbound expression this time. Let's say new label, and we'll give new button. And here, instead of use unbound expression, we dot your new label, and let's make it search button as well, so that you can see it is really let me clear the cache, reload the page, and let me show you how to enable this debug mode as well. So type in component in your setup menu and click on lightning components. It will give you a checkbox here, enable debug mode. So as soon as you click on this enable debug mode, you should be able to see these two buttons. One is with red and the second one is in green. So you can click on this green button to clear the client side cache, and then you can reload the page. So it will reload, so it will clear the cache, and in the first time itself you will get the latest code on the UI. But if you do not do it, so like you may have to refresh your page for 2 or 3 times to get the latest code. So let it get refreshed. Meanwhile we will uh, proceed further. There is I am facing a slow internet connectivity issue, so let's not wait for this to get refreshed. We will see the output after that. So let's move on with our conditional markup. So conditional markup is presented by Aura if. So Aura if to hide or show uh, some part of your component based on your requirement or based on your user condition. So this is how you can use it. So your Aura if will take an attribute called is true, and in the is true you can give the attribute name which is a boolean variable name. So if it is true, so the code you will write inside a Aura if will get execute. And let's say if you want to give a else condition as well, so you can use Aura set attribute equals to else as well, and then you can again give your component markup here. So if this v colon edit v dot edit gives you true, that means you will be able to see a button, edit button here. But if returns false, you should be able to see you cannot edit this markup. And what are the conditional operators or logical operators you can use inside a Aura if? So this is the list of those. So you can use double equals to, not equals to, less than, greater than, less than or equals to, and greater than equals to inside a Aura if. Along with that, you can use logical operation as well. So that is double ampersand, your or and not. So this is very similar to all the programming languages. So now let's you know um, let's do a practical about Aura if as well. How to hide your component code using Aura if. This is still not refreshed. Can you guys hear me? I'm not even sure if the internet is this much slow. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's audible.
Okay, but then it's not even loading the page on my side. But no issues, you can simply follow these steps. You are able to see the code as well, right? So you can follow these steps and you can at least refresh the page on your side and see the output. Okay, so what we are going to do now, so let's say we have a new button as well here. So let's hide this new button based on our user condition. So again we'll be creating another attribute named another attribute of type boolean, and then we will give a name is new available. So I'm giving it a name as is new available. I'm giving it a type of boolean, and then I am giving the default value as false. So here I'll be writing my Aura if colon just to handle this new button code based on this particular boolean variable. So let's write your Aura if again. Let's use our suite.app here. So this is the code that you can get from our suite.app here. So simply copy this code and paste it here. No need to type it out from manually. Just simply copy it, paste it, and in the true condition, let's give our button markup. Condition, let's say new button cannot be added here. So what we are doing, and in the is true condition, let's give our attribute name here. So what will be happening is like once your aura if will be executing, it will be simply checking what is the value inside your attribute name called is new available. So if it is false, it will simply go to your else condition and it will execute this code. But if it is true, then it will mark the aura if. So our default value is false, so it should not show your new button and it should show this text new button cannot be added here. Let's see if we got the output for the previous one. Yes. So for the previous exercise that we have done, so we have included two button here with the label search button and new button, which is coming from the attribute. So we do see those button here with the new label search button and new button. So that you can do from your end as well. Now let's test our aura if condition as well. So I have cleared the cache and I am reloading the page again. Again, let's not wait for this to get refreshed. Let's move further. We will see the output later on. But what should be happening is instead of this new button, you should be seeing new button cannot be added here. We will see once the uh, page is available.
Manish,
Okay.
can you talk a little bit about how you could change the attribute value? Like, how do you pass on the attribute value for
Yeah,
unbound attributes?
yeah. So you are saying about this one. So you are saying like how can I change it from the new button to some other text, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's when your controller will comes in picture. So that will so we will be discussing a brief about the controller. We will be handling a event, but tomorrow session should cover it like how to change your attribute value. So this is the agenda for tomorrow, like how to get and set value inside your attribute. So you will be learning that tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. But for today, let's give them a default value and access those using our bound expression or unbound expression. So that's why I'm giving default values everywhere. So these are the defaults value being set in every attribute, which you can use either by bound expression or unbound expression.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So now our page is refreshed. So let's go to your car search forum. Okay, it does show up new button. Not sure why is new available. Okay, default is false. Everything's good. Maybe let me refresh it one more time. It should not show up. Meanwhile, let's continue with our. So any questions so far till Aura if we'll be moving on to iteration after this. So if you have any question, you can ask now. Okay, so let's move on to Aura iteration component. So you can loop through your arrays and objects using Oracle and iteration. So the simple example you can see here itself. So this I took from the suite.app itself. So what we are doing, we have 5 items in our iteration. We have 5 items and we want to iterate over those 5 items. And we have a standard. We have a component called meter, and we are generating 5 meters using these by iterating over these 5 values. So this will be the output of this, like item value for the first time will be 1, so 1 by 5, so it will fill your meter 1/5 times. So and it will keep on increasing for the next 5 time for the next 5 iterations like this. So we'll be using so I think after this there should be a lab exercise for Aura iteration as well. So let's use this Aura iteration for our select list. So yesterday we have included this text here by default by as a static value, but today we will give keep these inside an array, and then we will use that array to iterate over, and then we'll be displaying those using Aura colon iteration. There is some Why am I seeing this new?
Is this single quotes in the label or is it double quotes? My name is Anil. Line number 21.
Line number 21, lighting
The
button.
unbound expression, the label equal to.
That should not be a problem, I guess. But the thing is, your code should not come here. It should go in else part. Hmm. Default is false, right?
Then set it to true, no? It will go to.
Let me just try it again. Let me include the Oracle and iteration code as well here itself. We will be testing both of them at the same time. So let's create one more attribute to hold your list of cards. So the name would be, let's say, list of car, or maybe car types. And then what would be the type of this one? It should be string array. And then we will give a default value to this one as well. So what should be the default value? It should be, let's say, sports car, comma, your luxury car, and then when. So this should be the default value. And then we will be iterating over this car types array, and we will be displaying all these options using Oracle and iteration. So for that, uh, let's go to our suite.app again with Aura iteration. Yeah, this is Aura iteration. So simply type in Aura iteration and remove this meter. We should be populating our options in the iteration. Remove the extra options here. So what we have done, we are using all types as default option value, and then we will be iterating using Aura iteration to our to our car types attribute or car type list, and then we will be displaying all these car type name using the Aura iteration. So in the item list, we should access the car types attribute. So again, we need to use expression here. So simply start and close the parenthesis, give an exclamatory mark, then v as in value provider and your attribute name. Again, now what does this var mean? So var means like, what is the variable name that you want to give, which will be accessing every value out of this collection. So we can give it a name as car type. So this var name will be used to to access the value out of this collection. So how you can do that? So instead of giving a static text here, again use expression, then your exclamatory mark, v as in value provider, and here you need to give your attribute name. So now your attribute name should be car type, because you are accessing the car type, not all the car types here. Again, you can give value as well. So yesterday one of you asked me a question, why we are seeing the last value as a selected value here, right? So last value is being selected by default. So this is because we were having the value as blank in all of them, and in our lightning select column, lightning select tag, we are also describing a value as blank. So what the code will do, it will match this value with the options value, and it will replace the selected value as your the late as the last option that it found with the same value. So here we will be changing the value to our car type. Again, we will not be giving it blank, so that what will happen, your lightning select will always select all types as default, because the value in lightning select is also blank, and the value in all types is also blank. But the value in further options will be different, and it will be coming from this iteration, so they will never be selected by default. Let's save this and then test it. Did I write the complete code? Yes. Control Shift R. Any questions so far, guys? Let's utilize this time for questions till the page renders.
Hi Manish, I'm Anil. Actually, in
Yeah,
the
hi.
Aura condition is there. If condition is there, right?
Yeah,
So in that, first we are checking for true condition, and inside that we are also including the else part. So
yes.
I'm talking about I'm comparing it with reference to our regular if else conditions.
Mm-hmm.
If the if condition is satisfied, then it will not go to else condition, right?
No, it won't go. Yes.
So similarly, in our example, we are setting the attribute value as false. So then that's why it is not going to the else part. That's why it is still showing the new but some second button. I think we need to set it to false, true to see the second one,
Uh,
else part.
uh, no, Anil. So what happens? So like if your condition is true, then
Hmm.
so like if your if condition is true, then your if part gets executed, right? The code does not go to your else part, right?
Yes.
And if your if condition is not satisfied, then only your else part is getting executed. So what the is true will return here, it will return false. So it will say like, okay, the aura if returning false, so we need to go to else condition. This is
Yeah.
how it should do. But what I think, like I was including b as in a small case, so that could have been the problem. So let's see if that fixes the problem now.
I think it will be resolved if you set it to true. Or let us see.
Okay. Okay. Any other question is?
If you set it to true again, it's going to be the if condition, right, Manish?
Yeah.
Then there is no else concept.
That
Yeah,
there
then there
is
is no
a
else.
negation.
Okay, so I found the problem. What was the problem? So let's ignore this error. Yeah, please go away. So now new button cannot be added. Here is displaying. So what was the problem? So instead of capital B, I was giving small b here. So please be aware, guys. So Lightning is uh, case sensitive. It's not like Apex and Visual Force page. It's case sensitive. So you need to take care of these cases. And you need to, because these are very hard to debug. So so right now it was very hard to find, like I was including a small case here. I did not change it to default to true, but now it has recognized like it's a boolean variable, and now it is rendering as what we needed. So now your code will come here, it will think like, okay, it will see the value of this is false, so it will never execute the if part, it will go to your else part, and there you can write your markup again, and you can handle it as per your business requirement. But now let's see what was the issue here. We did not see the error to fix. There was some error coming up, right? I did not see that one. This time it loaded. So it's saying attribute card type of component is not visible to markup. Why does it say so? Let's go to our suite.app and let's see how they are doing it. So they are, oh, okay. Yeah. So what I've done here, so I have included our value provider here. I should not include the value provider if I'm using a variable here. So value provider is always used to access your attribute from attribute of your component. So this is not attribute of your component. So this is a what we can say, a temporary variable that we are using to iterate over this list. So you should not include the value provider here if you want to access the value of this variable. So just remove these two variables, to the value provider text and save it again, and then clear the cache, reload the page. I'm sorry guys, we need to stress today's session because of my internet connectivity issue, and so I hope you guys can bear me for next 15 minutes as well. If you you can drop off as well, the video will be available after that as well. But if uh, if you can be here, please be here. We'll be discussing the most important part of today's session, that is handling the browser events. So now we'll be going to your controller file after this exercise. So please uh, be live on the session if you want to learn this and if you want to ask the questions, because you won't get the feasibility to ask the question after this. And you can use the discussion forum as well on the SFDC Facts to ask the question. Thanks for everyone who is collaborating there and answering the questions of the guys. I do see many people are answering the questions there. So let's come to your car search form component again. So we see the sports car, luxury car, and when coming up from your uh, car types attribute here. So these things, three values are coming from car types, and also we do see like all types option was default checked, because the value of all types is also blank, and the value that you have given here in the lightning select is also blank. So let's say if you give it as sports car as value here in lightning select, so it will always select the option with sports car. If it does not find the option, then again it will select the default one. So if you reload it, you should be able to see the sports car selected here. But let's not wait for the page to refresh. Okay, duplicate it. I did not clear the cache as well.
Hi Manish, this is Pratyusha.
Hey Pratisha.
Actually, instead of refreshing, can we use the preview from the Rent a Car app? Because loading will take time. It will be directly displayed over there, I think.
Oh yes, we do have a rent a car application as well. Thanks for reminding me about that. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, we do have a application. And one more thing, in your standalone application, you do not have to clear the cache and everything. It will automatically fetch the latest code every time. Okay, so now you see the sports car is default by default is checked here. The all types is not checked. The default value is sports car. So if you want to check the default car is the sports checked, we have give value it will fasten us the exercises for today. Now let's talk about handling the event, uh, handling your browser events in your controller file. So again, like as I'm saying, so like lightning, using lightning, it's a event driven programming. So like your events will be driven from your markup. They can be handled in your controller, and then your controller can further call your helpers as well. And this is how all these three files and the remaining five files interacts with each other to give you a complete user experience. So uh, so like events can be triggered by any user as well, or it can be automatically fired by the framework as well. So automatically so like the system events will be covering tomorrow, but for today we'll be seeing the events that will be fired by a user. Then we'll be seeing client side control, how a client side controller handles an event which is being fired by your component markup. And then we will be seeing your a small example of using your helper file as well. But as I said in session one, use your helper file to offload your heavy work from your controller file, because your helper file can be used for code reusability, and these functions can be called from your controller file as well. So how to define a client side controller? So you can simply click on the controller file and you will be seeing a normal JS file getting generated there. So let so the function that you are seeing on the screen, it's a a sample function. So my action is a function name. So it is taking three parameters. First is CMP, which is now changed to component. So it is taking three parameters: component, event, and helper. So component represents your markup code. So in component you will get your markup. Event is will represent what event has fired this particular action. So let's say if you are firing this action on click of mouse button, so the event will give you on click. So you will get the event type from here, and the helper will give you a instance or a reference of your helper file as well. So let's say you want to call your helper file function from your controller, so you can use this helper variable or helper attribute to call that function. So the same thing is explained on the slide as well. So again, like I'm saying, like use your helper to uh, increase your code reusability. So put all the functions that can be reused by your controller inside a helper. Do not write the same code again and again in your controller functions. Use your helper function, write the code once, use it multiple times. Don't write the code every time you need it. Just write it once and use it multiple times. The helper helps you in moving your heavy lifting tasks from client side controller, because if you are moving your function from controller to helper, your controller file readability will increase, and also the code reusability will be increased because of the helper function as well. Okay, then again, as I said in session one as well, use your helper file to interact with your database, or call your server side controller or call your Apex controller. Do not use your controller, even though you can use your controller as well to call your Apex or server side controller. It's better to use your helper to do this task, because helper is designed to interact with model. It's designed as a model layer, so it should interact with your database. Your controller should not directly interact with your database. Just again, like uh, this is how you increase the code readability part. Now the last thing is how you can handle the event using your controller. So this is the last exercise, I guess, for today. So let's test this very quickly. So this is how your component code should look like. Let me zoom out a little bit so that you should be able to see the complete code. So like in case you want to write the code after the session, you will get a clear picture what we have written today. And let's use your search button, and let's fire an event on the search button, and we will show a alert pop up. Let's say your search button is clicked. So what you have to do, you need to define an on click event. Again, it will be in small case letters, so don't give your C as capital, because lightning is a case sensitive language. So you need to uh, be very careful about the cases of each and every uh, the event or each and every attribute that we are writing. So on click of a button, let's say you want to call a function from the controller file. So as of now, let's leave this code here itself and click on the controller file on the right hand side. Once you click on the controller file, the system will generate a controller.js file for you. So it will be like car search from controller.js, and it has also created a sample function for you. So name this sample function to let's say on search click. I have named it to on search click, and then again I'm writing a normal alert code here. Let's say alert search button was clicked. Save this file, And now you can call this search on search click function from your markup. So go back to your component markup. In the on click attribute, start parenthesis, and now instead of value provider we will be using controller. Or so to call your controller function, instead of we will be using C here. So C represents your controller for file. So so if you want to call any function in your controller, you have to use C here. After C you can simply give the controller function name, which is on search click. So please keep in mind, so if you want to access your attribute value, you have to use the value provider V. But if you want to use your controller function, you need to use your controller C. So this is how you can access your controller function. So C dot on search click and save this space. So now what we have done, so like we have written an on click event on your search button, which will be calling on search click function, and your function should be displaying an alert pop up saying your search button was clicked. Let's refresh your lightning app. Hmm. Now the application itself is taking time to load. Yeah. So let's click on search button. Do you see this search button was clicked? So this was handled by your controller file. So this is how you can call your controller functions from your markup. Now let's uh, create a helper file as well, and we will call that helper function from the controller function. You just we need to keep this in mind. We cannot call a helper method directly from your markup file or component file. You have to go through your controller file to call your helper file. So let's say we are creating one more function in your helper file now. So click on the helper file on the right side bar. The system will create a helper.js file, and here again it will create a sample function for you. Give this function any name. I'll let's say handle on search click. And instead of displaying this alert here, let's display this alert in your helper function. And again, your helper function can include all these three attribute again. You can pass these three attribute value to your helper function as well. So let's pass these three value from here. And now what you need to do, you need to call your helper function from your controller function. So how you can do this? So you can use your helper attribute or helper variable passed by this Aura framework, and then you can specify the helper function after a dot. So dot is always used to access the properties or access the variable in every programming language. So here we want to access this function from the helper file, so we'll use the dot and then your helper function name. And your function accepts three parameters, these three parameters. So let's pass these three parameters value as well. So this is not mandatory, but I am passing this so that in future if you want to access something from your component markup, let's say attribute or something, you can use this component here as well. So this is not mandatory, but again you can use it as per your feasibility or as per your requirement. I'm saving this the helper file as well, and I'm calling this helper file from the controller file by using the helper keyword or helper variable. And let's reload the page again. Again, the functionality should be same. You should be seeing the alert pop up on the click of search button, but this time it will be coming from your helper file, not from your controller file. This is just to give a demo about the helper file as well. So again, now you are seeing the search button was clicked and it is coming from your helper file. So any questions so far before we wrap up today's session? Okay, so I'll take that as no. So
Yeah, Manish, I have a small doubt. So where are
mhm.
we getting this alert? I couldn't see in this screen.
Okay, so let me zoom it out again. So this is your component markup. In your component markup, you have defined an on-click event, which will be calling your controller function named onSearchClick. And in your controller function onSearchClick, you have called a helper function as well, which named as handle on search click. So if you go in your helper file, I have created a function named handle on search here, in which I have written the alert code. So how these three are talking to each other? So your helper function is being called from your controller function in this way using the helper variable, and your controller function is being called from your component file or markup file in this way. So this is how these three are interacting with each other, but in the end this alert is coming from your helper file from here.
Okay, thank you. But I'm asking about in the
Mhm.
debug, I couldn't see that.
In dev.org, what do you
Yes,
mean in
yes.
dev.org? So here.
Yeah, yeah. Upon clicking this button, where are we getting
Mhm.
this alert message?
So we will get it same as we are getting in the application as well. So let's refresh the dev.org and let's see that here as well. So once you click on the search button in your dev.org, you should be able to see that alert. If you have written this code, then you should be able to see that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Let's check that real quick. I think it's coming up. Any other questions? So let's see the output of this and then wrap up today's session. Before it comes up, let me give a sneak peek of tomorrow's session as well. So what we are going to do tomorrow, we will be learning about Aura ID. So Aura ID is used to give a unique ID to your components. Then we'll be seeing how to get or set attribute value using your controller file. Then we will be seeing about system events as well. Today we have seen a user event on click, and but tomorrow we'll be seeing system events. So what are the system events being provided by Aura framework or Lightning framework? Then we'll be seeing about debugging and troubleshooting your Lightning component as well. Lightning framework does allow us to debug the component line by line. We'll be seeing that how to do that tomorrow. And apart from that, obviously many other things. So this is the sneak peek for tomorrow, and let's see this. So do you see this here? So on the developer go as well, if I'm clicking on the search button, I'm seeing this search button was click pop up here or alert here. So I think that answers your question, right?
Okay, Manish, I will check in my.
Yeah. So just write this code, create your helper file, controller file, and write this code. You should be able to see that. But let's wind up today's session now. We are already 17 minutes overdue. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please, if you have any question, do ask in on the forum page on sfdcfacts.com. So thank you guys. Thanks for joining today's session. See you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.